Hello, my name is Valor Benencosa. I'm with a company called Sumavi. We provide xCAT support, and I thought it would be good to start doing some video screencasts that I've seen on the web by other projects with the hopes of helping you deploy xCAT a little bit easier. And these will be hosted on our webpage at sumavi.com. But today I'm going to show you how to update xCAT, assuming that you have it installed already. I figured this would be a good place to start, given that some people have it and may be nervous about updating xCAT, but I think you'll find that it's extremely easy, and I hope to show that in this screencast. So the first thing that you would go to is the xCAT homepage at xcat.sourceforge.net, and you just click on the download button, and you'll see several different links that can be somewhat confusing if you haven't really seen this before. The first portion here in this line is the current release, and this is the one most of you will probably want. Now, downloading xCAT requires that you grab two different files. One is the core file and one is the depths file. So if I have on my machine 2.3.2, then this would be an update that I want. And even though the xCAT dependencies is at 2.4, it's still important that you grab these two together. Some other builds that you may want is the latest snapshot. These have the fixes to the current release, so this is 2.3.3 plus in this case. And then there's also the development builds. And right now we're working on the 2.4 release with xCAT, so that's where you would grab these. But you would get two of these. Now there's a couple ways to set your repositories to get xCAT, and I prefer to actually download them from the system. So just click on one of these links and you'll be prompted to download a tarball, and you can save it onto your server, and then you can go from there. And I've actually already downloaded these, so I'm not going to be downloading them on my system. And so let me go. So both of those should just start coming up and you'll start downloading just fine. As you can see, I'm downloading there. So let me go to my system right here where I actually have them. And some of you might think, well, the best thing to do before you do that is to maybe back up your database of all your xCAT settings. Because I do have some settings here. Here's node 1 and another machine called xCAT in my node list. And I probably don't want to lose that information. So what I can do is I can create a directory called xCAT. I'll just call it I guess I already have something there. So I'll just call it backup. I have one there too. It's amazing how many different files I have. Well, there's probably nothing good in backup that I want, right? So I'll make a directory called backup, and I'll just dump my xCAT files there using the xCAT dump xCATDB command, ptemp backup, and that'll start backing up all the files that I have, all the different database configurations. And while that's happening, since I'm on a virtual machine, that's not going to go very fast. Let's go back and look at the xCAT website for some of the actual documentation that you may find interesting. So one is on the documentation tab, you'll see some of these, and the ones that are right here are the ones we thought might be the most useful to people. And since xCAT suffers from a lot of documentation, it's not that there isn't any, it's just that there's a ton of it and it's all in different locations. We have the wiki right here that you can see, and some other sites, but the official xCAT documentation is here in the xCAT documentation repository. And if you click on that link, it gives you a nice view of everything that has different topics, but this may seem somewhat limited because we don't update this very often, and so probably the best way to see exactly what it is, and I know this is cryptic and it's something we should fix, is to just remove that index file and just go to the docs, and then you'll see a whole bunch of different documentations, and these are the real things right here where you can see how to set up the hierarchical management of xCAT, Blade Center how-tos, a lot of Linux, AIX, some web interface information, and update nodes. So this is basically where everything is. In addition, we have the wiki, and the wiki has some interesting pieces. Most of the parts that I go to is probably the how-tos, which have specific things. And I don't know if these have been updated too recently, but there are some good helps in there for you. Now let's go back and see if this thing is finished copying, and it looks like it has, so I can go to temp backup, and I can see that all of these files are here, and they're all just CSV files, so I can look at say my node list one, and you can see that it looks just like an xCAT table, so I can restore that if anything goes bad. Now I downloaded all my files into this install source directory. That's where I like to keep them. So here's the 2 different files I told you to download already. And the first thing we do is we just extract them, just like that, using the tar command. And we get the other one as well. This will extract them and create 2 different directories. One of them will be called xcat-core. The other one's going to be called xcat-dep. And these are where our RPM repositories are. So if I go into the core directory, then you'll see that there's a whole bunch of RPMs, and there's also a repository. Now what I do here is I just run make local repo, and that will actually create something inside of etc yum.repos xcat core, and that's what it created, and it tells it to look right here where I am right now and grab those packages. Okay, so that's the first one, but you also need to make sure your dependencies work. So I go into my dependencies, and with this one it's different because it's operating system dependent, and so you see that there's an RH5 directory, and since I'm running this on CentOS 5 4, then I go there, and it's also x86 64. So I go there as well, and then here I can do the same thing. I just use shall make local repository. It makes it, and this should make my directory called xcat dependencies. And there you see that they're set right there, and I have it all there. Now, in order for the xCAT dependencies to work, you're going to have to make sure that your standard yum repository works, and so you need to configure that however it is you do. So I can just see if screen, for example, is installed, and I can try to install that. And it looks like it's already installed. So now if my xCAT isn't up to the latest version, then I can now just update xCAT. And that's simply done by doing yum update xCAT, xCAT server, Perl xCAT, and xCAT client is a good one to do. And this will make sure that all of them are updated to the latest ones. And it turns out that I've actually already updated these, so it doesn't show anything, but if you did, you would see it go, and then you could look and see the version. So now let's see what version I have. xCAT. So I'm at the 2.3 latest snap, and server as well, and Perl.xcat. There it is. So we're all at 2.3, and we seem to be at the latest repository. And now you can just see if that your machine started and everything updated properly. I hope this helped you in some way to see how easy it is to update xCAT. It really just takes a couple minutes, and let's say that something did by chance happen to your database, then you can just go back to that temp backup, and you can just restore them. And it's just xCAT db. Let's see what the help message is. So we just give it a restore xCAT db p, and we get it temp backup, and it now restores all those files that you had. This is helpful for transferring files, or if you're experimenting and you want to go through and try different configurations like I do. I'll sometimes go to a customer place and I'll just save all my tables off in one place. I'll call it like temp customer A directory, and then create a whole new set of files, and it's very, very handy to be able to do that with the database and just switch the identity of your xCAT server very quickly. So this will restore, and then you're off to the races again. Thanks for watching, and if there's any questions, please let us know, and we'll be happy to answer on the mailing list. Thanks.